Mouse Rebel News fans, I'd like to introduce you to a writer for the Toronto Sunday Sun. His name is Peter Worthington. He's a propagandist of the ruling elite and a racist hate-monger of Canada. Frankly, I'm disappointed that such a closet Canadian BNP supporter would be allowed to have a column in one of Canada's national newspapers. I personally feel he's an insult to my nation and an insult to the principles that which Canada was founded upon, as they are written in the Canadian Bill of Rights on July 1st, 1960. I am a Canadian, free to speak without fear, free to worship in my own way, free to stand for what I think right, free to oppose what I believe wrong, or free to choose those who shall govern my country. This heritage of freedom I pledge to uphold for myself and all mankind. Peter the Whore Worthington, as I like to call you, are an insult to these words. I read your column more like a hate speech calling for the genocide of Palestinians. You are disgusting, vile, so-called human being. You should be in prison for what you've publicly stated. Your absolutely ridiculous defense of the Israeli-Palestinian war was an insult to journalism, if you can call a one-sided battle a war. I, a nobody on a free public broadcasting service, has more journalistic integrity than you could ever dream of. Your defense of a blatant human rights violation shows you to be the racist fascist that you are. The column Peter Worthington wrote was in criticism of the UN report on Israeli war crimes committed against unarmed civilians and UN employees. Israel bombed half of Gaza's hospitals, murdered 1,300 civilians, attacked and destroyed 17 UN convoys and 2 UN bases. Considering one of the UN bases had a Canadian in it, that makes you a traitor as well. Why was all this justifiable to Peter the Whore Worthington? What justification could this pathological hate-spreading man come up with? This was his statement about the so-called war on October 9th, 2009. Israel would not have attacked Gaza had not Hamas fired 8 years of rockets into Israel. Okay, so basically the Israel war crimes, one even against our own Canadian people, are entirely the fault of the Palestinian people? You blame the crimes against humanity caused by Israel on someone else? It wasn't the Nazis' fault for the Holocaust. It was the fault of all the Jewish bankers and Jewish conspirators. Yeah, just like that, huh? It's always the victim's fault. Palestine lives under the jackboot of Israel, but it's Palestine's fault. You know what? Let's telescope this thing. Hamas fired 8 years of rockets into Israel? Okay. Hamas would never have fired 8 years of rockets into Israel if Palestinians weren't consistently having genocide committed against them, or if they hadn't rolled into Palestine and demolished hundreds of thousands of people's homes and murdered millions since then. Quite frankly, Israel deserves a whole lot more than 8 years of rockets. Not to mention his criticism of a report on Israeli war crimes. It didn't have anything to do with Palestine, so in order for Peter the Whore Worthington to make his argument, he had to take into account things that had nothing to do with the report. That is why I call you a propaganda whore. Take your hate speech and move to Israel if you want to say such things. You are an insult to the freedom of speech and an insult to this nation. By the way, asshole, advocating genocide is a terrorist offense. You, Peter Worthington, are a low-life terrorist, and you should stand trial for it.